Australia, so vast, yet so short on history. When Australians talk of national institutions, we could be accused of talking through our wide-brimmed hats. But there's this exception, this astonishing exception. From the man on the land to the pinstripe broker, to John and Cell Block C, they'll all sing you songs about the Melbourne Cup. How it's run on the first Tuesday in November. How for a tick over 3 minutes it stops a nation. How it's beyond floods and droughts and stock market crashes and the law of the land. And that the Cup is not simply a horse race. It began in 1861, little more than a week after Burke and Wills had lost their race for life in the harsh north. Archer, who'd walked all the way from Nowra in New South Wales, won the first Cup. And the second. So from the beginning the race had precedent. Remember, unlike the derbies, more times than not the Cup is won by unfashionable slab-sided old geldings, but never by a weak horse. It has no pattern, no rule. Carrying the grandstand weight of 9 stone 10 with mud up to his hocks, the legendary Peter Pan escaped a near wipeout to win in 1934. Yet Tully, an out-and-out champion, the best since Farlap, toils so far behind all those hacks in 1960. It's about emotion. For every sorry tale, there's a dozen to warm your heart. In 1973, Frank Rays, one of 14 children, his body patched up from fall after fall, won on Gala Supreme. At the presentation ceremony, 103,000 racegoers choked back emotion as the battling jockey broke down and wept for joy. For those few minutes, for that day, for that chapter in history, Francis Norman Rays was a national hero. Insanity prevailed in 1976 when Van der Ham performed as a lightning bolt through the mud in some of the weirdest, wildest, most wonderful scenes in Cup memory. Every year its history grows and the world draws closer to our institution. This decade, Robert Sangster's Belldale Ball and the Arab Sheiks at Talak have saluted. Last year it was Empire Rose striking back. So big, yet so beautifully precious. Every year, it's your day. It's Australia's day. It's the first Tuesday in November, the day they run the Melbourne Cup.
An aerial view of famous Flemington Racetrack. Good afternoon and welcome back to all our viewers around Australia for the running of the 1989 Melbourne Cup, with a special welcome to viewers throughout North America, Europe, the Middle East, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, to our friends across the Tasman in New Zealand and to our friends in Papua New Guinea joining us for the Melbourne Cup for the very first time. And with me, as he's been all day, one of Australia's outstanding racing brains and not a bad fellow, Bruce McAvaney.
Thanks for that, Mike. It's going to be a great race, great cup. As we said earlier, we've got a chance of history being made here today because The two favourites have both got to write their way into the record books, and that's Empire Rose and Stylish Century. Mike, there's been an enormous amount of money bet on this race already. Expected something like $100 million will be bet on the Melbourne Cup. We have two systems in Australia, the tote and also the bookmakers, the best of both worlds. And on the tote in Victoria for 50 cents, Empire Rose, the Bonnie mare trying to win it for the second time, is $3.10 for a win. Superimpose at $9.45, Lord Highbrow $25. Narbotto's the only scratching, Kosh King at $4.20, Terrific at $12.65, Ideal Centreman at $11.30. Coal Diesel hoping to become the 8th horse to win the classic double in Australia, the Caulfield Melbourne Cup, at $3.75. Coods at $15.80, one of the international horses. Research, the horse of the year, at $8.30. Saratov, $30. Fleetwood Lad, $11.55. Hidden Rhythm, a Derby winner at $43. Palace Revolta, Sydney Cup winner at $41. The Phantom from New Zealand at $8. Pacific Mirage, $43. Power of Destiny carrying Robert Sangster's famous colours at $35. Kate's Mill at $9, trained by an Irishman. Plume d'Or Vale being ridden by a lady jockey for only the second time in Cup history, $33. Sea Legend 10, he's been here before and run a place. Go Pack from Britain at $13. Citizen from Tasmania at $8. Salis Opera, $51. And the 3-year-old Stylish Century, hoping to be the first in 48 years, at $3.80. Huge pool, Mike. So it's all set up for a fabulous race.
Yes, they're the payout figures on the Totalisator, but here in Australia, of course, we have our famous betting rings. In the United States, you don't know about these betting rings. In Australia, they are legendary. Let's cross to a legend in his own right at the betting ring, Bob Mormel.
Thank you, Mike. Well, here in the betting ring, the Australians' love of a bet is certainly starting to show as they pour forward to take on the bag boys. They're putting plenty on the fancied runners here. Indeed, they're putting plenty on every runner. Australians love to take the bookmakers on, and they certainly do it in the betting ring on Melbourne Cup Day. They pull money from everywhere. Forget the economy, forget your problems, forget the weather. Get in and have a bet. This is the big one, and Australians are doing it in their thousands. Off course, millions. In the betting rings, many, many millions. The one that the bookmakers have taken a risk with and will hurt them badly is Coal Diesel. From the opening of betting this morning, Coal Diesel has been solidly supported. He was vying for favouritism with the mare Empire Rose for a while. He's now a firm equal second favourite. The youngster, Stylish Century, winner of the Victoria Derby on Saturday, has always been favourite. Now they're rallying the punters. The small punters are finding their dollars and rallying to the Bonnie mare Empire Rose. She got out to 7-1. She's now into a tighter quote. She's going to run second favourite, Stylish Century favourite. The worst result for the bookies, most certainly Coal Diesel, Gibbo.
Thank you, Bob Mormel, there in the betting ring, and this will be a very, very open Melbourne Cup. It's about 5-1 the field. Let's have a look now at the outstanding contenders.
Horses, and all have earned the right to race for everlasting glory. The giant striding mare Empire Rose carries the hearts and hopes of the people. Will she become the first mare and only the 5th horse to win 2 Melbourne Cups? If so, Empire Rose will be the richest stakes earner in Australasia, with prize money of over $3 million. Or will fellow Kiwi Kosh King repeat his performance in the Brisbane Cup and the Dalgety? Kosh King is firing on all cylinders and is timed and tuned to perfection. Or will the race go to the magnificent 3-year-old Stylish Century? His connections think it will. They paid $37,500 as a late entry fee after he won the Derby. Will Coal Diesel be steaming down the outside, demolishing this field like he did in the Caulfield Cup? The old warhorse Sea Legend came close in '86. A year later, he was just as close to dying. Today, he's back again and in with a chance. Tasmanians will be putting all their money on the back of its only contender, Citizen, the champ from the Apple Isle, who only has to prove he can stay the extra distance. Or will it be a roughie that will etch its name on the cup in the greatest race of everlasting glory?
And there they are, the major contenders for the 1989 Melbourne Cup here at Flemington, to be run in about half an hour from now, Bruce, as the drama mounts, and I guess the race will boil down to a classic. Can they catch this marvellous 3-year-old Stylish Century?
That's the way it looks, Mike. He's going to lead for sure at some stage. Will he run the 3,200 metres? For all of us, this day is very exciting. Fancy your father training 2 Melbourne Cup winners and being one of the legends of the turf. Well, Gay Waterhouse is a lady who's been around racing all her life. Her dad's Tommy Smith. He has done just that. And Gay, it's a big day for another lady today because she joins the record books as a rider in the Melbourne Cup.
Well, it certainly is a very big day for Linda Valentine. Linda, how do you think your horse Plume de Ville will go, number 19?
Well, the horse has proved himself that he can run the distance through running second in our Auckland Cup at home, which was the beginning of this year. It's just a matter of who's going to be going quickest at the post, really.
Tell me, Linda, are you at all nervous or not? There aren't many other women riding today.
No. Actually, I was probably a little bit lucky. I spent 3 months here last year at the same carnival, and I got a fair idea of what to expect. So if I came straight into this and seen all these people, I probably would have got a bit of a fright coming from New Zealand. But no, I'm quite relaxed at the moment.
Well, we're hoping everything goes right for you, and I hope you turn up to be the winner.
So do I. Be parties.
There she is, Linda Valentine, a Kiwi, only the second lady to ever ride in the Melbourne Cup. The other one, another Kiwi, Marie Linden. But right now, let's go to the saddling area, and what's happening there, Crackers?
Well, they're mainly all settled up now, Mike. They're absolutely nervous. Just talking to Johnny Marr and Greg Manson, they're absolutely fired up. I've never seen trainers get so nervous. This is the big one they really work out for. Horses are very relaxed, but their attendants are really starting to feel the pressure at the moment.
What about yourself? For those who've just joined us from overseas, Crackers Keenan, one of our most famous footballers, also has a massive interest here in this race in a horse called Cole Diesel. How's your heart?
Well, I've played in a few grand finals, but I've never been so nervous as today. You know, I've seen the horse start as a 2-year-old, watching get broken, and it's his big day. Well, we'll find out if he can run 2 miles today. His blood's spot on. The horse has been saddled up. There's been a little bit of a scare with him, and some crank caller rang up and wanted to finish him off and all the rest, but now we're just ready to go to the race. And I know the horse is relaxed, but Mick Roberts and Greg Manson, I don't know who's going to have the first heart attack. Well, it could be me. But,
all right, Crackers, you just take it easy and relax at least till the race gets underway. We'll be back with more in a moment here from the 1989 Melbourne Cup.
Well, I'm leaving out the 2 best, Empire Rose and Stylish Century, and going for Sedestin. But this is a hard cup to tip this year.
Well, I've got a sneaking regard for a 25 to 1 chance Superimpose. I think it's drawn well. If Darren Gauci can sneak it away in about 8th or 9th place on the rails and go to sleep, it'll shake the life out of it.
I don't think they can beat the colt, Stylish Century.
Well, only one horse I think is really going to win it, which is Empire Rose. But I just like to follow that little Irish trainer, Paddy, with Kate's Mill.
Sure, that little
That's
leprechaun.
Right. That's right.
And there's the scene, a packed Flemington racecourse on this, the first Tuesday in November in Australia for the running of the 1989 Melbourne Cup. And a man who was most interested in this, of course, is the VRC handicapper, a man by the name of Jim Bowler. It's his birthday next Monday, the big 4-0 coming up. But I think the excitement, Peter Donegan, must be starting for him today.
Mike, I think Jim's birthday is probably the last thing on his mind at the moment because over 600 have come down to 24. In fact, Jim, how many did you weight?
637, Peter.
Great task. How long does it actually take to weight that amount of horses?
Oh, it doesn't stop. You can't because there's so much going on. Even Saturday's Derby will form the basis of next year's Cup. Half the runners from today will reappear in the nominations next year. It's an ongoing thing, off to New Zealand, Sydney in the autumn, and of course the overseas element becomes a new dimension for the Melbourne Cup.
Jim, we were very disappointed to hear about all the top fancies dropping out on Saturday. I'm sure as a handicapper and after having seen them prepare for the Cup, you know, it must have been disappointing to you too.
Oh yes, those things happen, Peter. I mean, I don't care whether it's football or cricket, any sport. There is a natural attrition leading to situations like this. But on the day, there are 23 horses here today. There is last year's Cup winner leading them out, and the last horse out will be this year's Derby winner.
Well, I'm sure you'll have your critics and you'll have those applauding you after the race, Jim. A job well done, and it's on with next year.
Thanks very much, Peter.
Jim Bowler, the VRC handicapper, just minutes before the start of the great race, the Foster's Melbourne Cup.
And Mark Cummings had 52 horses weighted for the Cup and not one runner today. So this racing game is one of chance and good luck. And Graham Kelly's been coming to the Melbourne Cup since 1960. And Graham More often than not, a race can be won or lost with the horses walking from the birdcage to the mounting yard. They must arrive in good shape.
Yes, that's certainly true, Bruce, and when they come into the mounting yard, we'll have a much better idea of how everything's looking. At this stage, we're talking to Diane Mance, part owner of Cole Diesel, who'll be trying to create racing history by becoming only the 8th horse to win the Fosters and Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup double. Diane, how do you feel?
Very excited, very happy, very proud to be here, actually.
Have you been down to see the horse?
I have, yes. Well, I didn't go this morning, no. I thought, no, I won't go near him, but I have been with him all week, yes.
Good, Diane. Well, we wish you good luck, and we hope he's in the record books after the race.
We need that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of being in the record books, a young 20-year-old who works for Channel 10 will be in the record books in about a half an hour's time. Dan Malicki will be the youngest commentator to call the Melbourne Cup. Just 20 years of age, and I think if anyone was destined to call the great race, it was Dan. He has extraordinary talent for his age, and he's about 20 minutes away from his greatest challenge yet, but he's looking forward to it like nobody else. And he's got John Letts with him, who's ridden 2 Melbourne Cup winners, Belldale Ball in 80, and before that Piping Lane in 72. And I know the feeling from the broadcast box, Dan, the atmosphere begins to build now when they go from the birdcage to the mounting yard.
Bruce, it really does. The bands are playing at full tempo in the background. You know it's Melbourne Cup Day, you really do. No matter if you're a race caller or if you're a jockey, John, because you've ridden 2 Melbourne Cup winners, you would know.
I have, Dan, but it's interesting to note, Bruce, that Dan said he was a little bit nervous here early in the day. He tipped me the first winner at 20 to 1, spend $1. And but I know what Dan's going through, but he's pretty cool, and up to now, gee, I can't fault his calls, and he's been spot on, #1.
Just a bit of luck we won, I think.
OK, Dan, you don't need too much luck. You're too good a caller. Well done, and good luck in the Cup coming up just the same now. Now we go to the car park. That's where all the atmosphere is happening, and right at the scene of the action, Larry Emder and Colette Mann.
Good afternoon. Well, here we are in the car park. It's hotting up, but it has slowed down because a lot of the people have taken their little eskies and gone trackside, of course, to watch the big race. Colette, the other people don't really care, do they?
No, there's a few people out here that have decided to stay and sit in the eskies. And but they're having a wonderful time, and I haven't seen the place so busy. I mean, the lawn wasn't as busy as this, and suddenly everybody's in these little vans coming down from the members' car park with their little tickets in their hands.
But it's important to note the amount of people here who literally come here in the car park, sit in their car, get their chicken out and their case of beer, and sit here all day and really don't care about the race. Now, you're an actress. There's certainly been some marvellous performances here, hasn't there?
Oh, there has been some fabulous performances and fabulous costumes.
OK, we'll see a lot more from the car park later on. We'll get some great Cup reaction stuff for you shortly. Back to you in the studio.
Larry Emder and Colette Mann. And speaking of fashion, somebody who's been looking at them all day today, as she did on Derby Day and will be on Oaks Day. And I guess there's nothing like Melbourne Cup Day. You save your best for the Cup, Annette Allison.
Bruce, you're very kind. Thank you very much indeed. And with me is Lily and Frank in the most wonderful print of, what, leopard print today?
Leopard, that's next year's colours.
It's always been something, though, that's been very popular, and you've sort of gone back into the archives of some of Melbourne's designers, of things they used to use way back when things were really very fashionable in the 30s.
That's right. They're all coming back. France, London, Paris, everybody's using fake leopard for the next winter. So I thought, let's get in, and it was very difficult to get anybody to give me this silk, this fake leopard silk, and my wedding meat hat, my beautiful dress.
And it looks wonderful.
And you know how hard it was to get this umbrella?
I haven't got time to find out. Tell me your tip for the Melbourne Cup.
Empire Rose, because she's got a flirtation with a male horse, what they call them, and she's going to a stallion, and she's going to run, and he's going to catch her.
And I'm going to go for Kosh King, and back to Gibbo.
Yes, Stylish Century is the horse that Empire Rose is apparently wrapped in, or is it vice versa? But right now, we'll go back to check on Crackers Keenan, not to check on the Melbourne Cup, to check on his medical condition. Crackers, are you holding up?
I'm all right, Mike. Don't worry about that. All the horses have left the enclosure. They're out walking now. The trainers have done their job. The strappers have done their job. It's up to the jock now. They've been led around. They've been eased off a little bit, and horses will be getting nervous now, but the trainer can't do any more at all now. She's all over for us.
OK, Crackers, we have 17 minutes till they're off and running in the 1989 Melbourne Cup. We'll be back with that in just a moment.
Stylish Century for obvious reasons. Who else?
Welcome back to famous Flemington Racecourse. Some of the colour and spectacle there as we have about 13 minutes to go before the running of the 1989 Melbourne Cup. Let's see what your fancy's paying out.
And Empire Rose is coming in all the time to $3. Will she make it 2 in a row? Superimposed $9.50 down to 5 Kosh King $4.20. 8 Coal Diesel at $3.75. We go over the page and see Research at $8.55. Fleetwood Lad into $10.85. The Phantom $9.20. Long Odds Power of Destiny, Kate's Mule $9.95, and still more. Sea Legend at $10.40, Go Pack $14, Sedestin $8.65, and Stylish Sentry is shortening up all the time at $3.50. The favourite on the tote, Empire Rose.
And that's the bulk of that money, of course, is off course. That's the tote money. Let's see what's happening on the course in the betting ring. Bob Mormore.
In the betting ring, the torrent of money for these runners continues with the big mare Empire Rose now equal favourite with Stylish Sentry. You can get better than each way odds about the two, but she's equal favourite, Rosie. Equal favourite with Stylish Sentry. Best back runner in the race, a point worse than those two. A point worse. The best back runner in the race, Coal Diesel, at about, right now, about 6-1 Coal Diesel. 5-1 Rosie, 5-1 Stylish Sentry. Just behind them, Sedestin, and one backed at long odds is Fleetwood Lad. Backed at long odds this morning. Let's get a quick tip from the doctor.
Bob, I'm going to stick with a big old mare, Empire Rose. I hope she can break history and win the race.
She'll run equal favourite with the Colt, Stylish Sentry, Coal Diesel, best back. Back to Bruce.
650 kilograms. She weighs, 4th time to the Melbourne Cup. Peter Donegan, Graham Kelly cast their eyes over the champions. Will Empire Rose write her way into the record book? Peter Donegan.
Bruce, I think she can. I think the owners of Empire Rose will have this cup, $32,500 worth, in probably about 10-15 minutes time. Let's have a look at the runners now before the Foster's Melbourne Cup, the great race. And Empire Rose, as she has done all week, looks an absolute picture. Her run in the McKinnon Stakes was outstanding. She's attempting to become only the 4th horse to win back-to-back Melbourne Cups, and I feel as though she can do it. Tony Allen to complete a remarkable achievement. Graham Kelly, number 2, Superimposed.
Has the service of Darren Gauci. He's been a little bit disappointing this spring. Did win the Turnbull Stakes here, 4 starts back. Nice run in the McKinnon Stakes here on Saturday, and if the races run to suit him, Superimposed will be among the chances.
Number 3 is Lord Highbrow, and he'll be ridden by Larry Olsen, who won the Melbourne Cup on Kenside 2 years ago. Lord Highbrow would have preferred the sting out of the ground. He finished a fair way back behind Horlicks in the McKinnon and probably has the job ahead today.
5 Kosh King with Brian Hibbert in the saddle, won the Brisbane Cup over 3,200 metres in June, put himself right into calculations for today's Melbourne Cup by winning the Dalgety here on Saturday. Unfortunately, he's drawn out in barrier 24, will start from 23, but a good chance.
Number 6, Terrific. Trainer Lee Friedman is very confident, thought his run in the McKinnon was very good. He's actually been schooling Terrific over some hurdles during the week, and with Shane Dye in the saddle, he'll lack nothing in horsemanship.
7 is Ideal Centre Man, Gary Willett. Ran 7th in the Melbourne Cup last year, won the Werribee Cup. At his last start, he's going to be a very big chance.
Number 8 is Coal Diesel, the Caulfield Cup winner, attempting to join a very elite group of horses. Mick Kerr, the rider, and if he can be smothered up, he'll come with a paralysing burst at the end of the 3,200 metres.
Number 9 is Kuds, an imported horse raced by Sheikh Mohammed. He was disappointing in the Dalgety on Saturday, but he's wearing a one-eyed blinker today, and Colin Hayes is predicting he'll run into the placings.
Last year's Horse of the Year, number 10, Research. Harry White attempting to become the first man to win 5 Melbourne Cups. She's been disappointing this time in, but if she strikes her best form, she'll be right in the finish of the Cup.
11 is Saratov. She's a very good staying mare, ran a nice 7th in the Moonee Valley Cup. This will be hard for her, but if she has the luck of the run, she could be there.
The New Zealander 12, Fleetwood Lad. We've only seen him once. He looked bright on Saturday in the McKinnon. He finished in the middle of the field, but there's a good tip floating around Flemington for this New Zealander today.
13 is Hidden Rhythm with Ken Russell in the saddle. He's a Derby winner, 2nd in the Tats Cup 2 starts ago, only 9th in the Dalgety, and I noticed he's one of the few horses really up on the toe going to the barrier.
Palace Revolta's got some great staying form. She's a nice compact little mare, looked good at the track this week, finished 5th in the Moonee Valley Cup to side Destin, and she's a good chance at good odds.
15 is the Phantom with Grant Cooksley in the saddle, 3rd in the Caulfield Cup behind Coal Diesel, and Caulfield Cup place getters have an outstanding record in the Melbourne Cup, so he must be considered a chance on that basis.
At Bolter's odds, number 16, Pacific Mirage, young Colin Browell having his first ride in the Melbourne Cup, a great thrill for him. 4th in the Werribee Cup to Ideal Sentiment was a good effort. He stays well and dead heated with Sea Legend in the Geelong Cup 3 runs ago.
17 is Power of Destiny, Peter Hutchison. He's carrying the famous Robert Sangster colours, but Power of Destiny has been disappointing of late, and he would have to improve considerably on his 6th in the Dalgety here on Saturday.
Irish Iron eyes will be smiling if number 18, Kate's Mill, can win the Cup today. She's a bonny little stayer. She's won at 2 miles. Jimmy Cassidy is the rider, the winner of the Melbourne Cup aboard Kiwi in '83, and they'll literally tear the stand down at Flemington if Kate's Mill can win.
Number 19 is Plume d'Orvie with Linda Ballantyne, only the second female jockey to ride in the Melbourne Cup aboard. His form has been a little bit disappointing, but he stays well, and I think he's a chance.
Sea Legend number 20, dead heated with Pacific Mirage in the Geelong Cup 2 runs ago, and then ran an excellent third in the Dalgety behind Kosh King. He's been placed in a Melbourne Cup. He knows what it's all about, and he's ready to run a big race.
21 is Gopak with Lance O'Sullivan in the saddle, another imported horse. He ran a very good race in the Dalgety here on Saturday, went second behind Kosh King. He comes in with a big chance in the race.
Citizen number 22, the Moonee Valley Cup winner, attempting to become the first horse since Piping Lane from Tasmania to win the Melbourne Cup, and on his Moonee Valley Cup run, he's a definite chance today.
Number 23, Salis Opera, Damien Olive, is one of the real outsiders in the race, and she would be a great surprise winner.
And can the 3-year-old Stylish Century become the first of his age in 48 years to win the Melbourne Cup? A brilliant win in the Derby on Saturday. He's your selection, Graham Kelly, and there's a great tip around for him.
Yes, I think Stylish Century can win. His trainer, Bill Mitchell, says he's done everything right. He's very pleased now that he decided to run the horse in the Cup, and I think Stylish Century can win.
My selection is the great mare Empire Rose. All of the preparations are now complete. It's horses and riders alone as they go up to the 3,200-metre barrier for the start of Australia's greatest race, the Foster's Melbourne Cup.
And Empire Rose keeps tumbling into 295, and there's been a flood of money for her in the bookmakers ring. She's the favourite. Superimpose at 940, Kosh King 420, Coal Diesel at 375 as we go over the page and look at the favoured horses. Research 855, Fleetwood Lad 1070 continues to tighten. The Phantom at 920, the big odds down to Kate's Mill at 1015, and still over the page we look at Sea Legend at 1050, Citizen at 865 and Stylish Century at 345.
And in 6 minutes from now, they'll be off and running in the 1989 Melbourne Cup. Welcome back. About 4 minutes and they'll be off and running in the 1989 Melbourne Cup, and I gather, Brucey, the money is pouring in for the Kiwis.
Yes, Empire Rose and Kosh King. Let's go down to the betting ring with Bob Mormel. Bob, we believe Empire Rose is the favourite, but Kosh King's coming in all the time.
Empire Rose favourite. You can still get 5 to 1 though, Bruce. There's been a huge move for Kosh King in the last few minutes. Kosh King, believe it or not, is now on second line of favouritism with Stylish Century and Coal Diesel. Stylish Century a little bit uneasy, but the big late firmer without question after the torrent of money for Rosie has been Kosh King.
Thanks for that, Bob Mormel. Let's go to the barrier. Crackers, Keenan. Crackers, who's travelled best to the post?
Well, most of them are pretty good, Bruce, at the moment because they've just come down here. A lot of noise down here, but Coal Diesel's broken out a little bit underneath the back legs, but they're all very relaxed. Jockeys are probably nervous, more nervous than the horse, because you get to a stage where you've got to get the good break, you've got to be out of the gate quick and find your posse where you want to be, and you've got a long run. But you want to get a posse so your horse is relaxed and you can get his wind open and get him travelling nice.
So at this stage, no problems with any of the favourites?
No, nothing at all. They're very relaxed. The horses are all in their stride. They know what they've got to do. It's the jockeys now that are planning their race. They're looking around. They're looking at the other horses, summing up their chances, seeing how the other horses have done over the last couple of days. And they'll be waiting to wait for the kick, move their horses out quick and find a posse or get back behind the field and just relax your horse because you've got 2 miles to go.
And who better to tell us about a jockey's point of view than John Letts, who's won this great race twice, 1972, 1980. What are they thinking about now, John?
Well, Bruce, I'm sure that they wouldn't be worried much about the other runners in the race. They'd be worried about where they're going to finish up themselves in the run to the first turn. They've got a nice long run to the winning post the first time, and they want to be in a good position. All eyes will be on Rosie. It's interesting to note that nobody calls her Empire Rose in Victoria. They all call her Rosie. They love her, and when she went out on the track,